Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. You know, recently I posted a video on a 38 Special and learning to use what you have for defense. Thought I would follow up with a video on revolvers that people choose. They seek out for defense. Okay? You know, revolvers are still a very viable tool for defense. And you know, the number one gun purchased when folks get a concealed weapons permit is still a small 38 Special revolver. Okay, that's still the number one choice, and for a lot of good reasons. You know, they're very easy to use, and hey, it's still effective. They're rugged, they're reliable. There's a lot of good attributes to revolvers that people just don't give them the credit for anymore. I know. You know, you want the Glock, or you want the H&K, or you want the XD maybe, or hey, you're not really serious about defense unless you have a 45 and 1911. Well, you know what, they're all good guns. They're all very good guns, and I have many of them. But it's just not true. You know, revolvers still can be a viable tool for defense. Let's take a look at a couple examples I have here. Here's a Smith & Wesson, and this is an airweight model 638. Okay, let's go ahead and safety check it. And this happens to be a double action revolver. I know you see the shroud that's going around the hammer here, but the hammer still protrudes a little ways. And you can still pull it back and cock it for single action firing. Has a 1 7/8 inch barrel. Has an aluminum frame, thus the airweight. And it's a very lightweight handed gun. You know, there's a saying that the gun that you have with you is much better than the one that you have at home. And you know, a lot of times that's usually associated with lightweight, easy to carry guns. And this is a representation of that. Okay, you can slip this in your pocket of a jacket or coat, you know, slip it into a purse. Hey, I bought this little holster right here that holds it, and I wear it in the front pants pocket. You know, and this holster breaks up the outline a little bit, and it's a good gun. It's a good setup. You know, it only has 5 shots, and you know, it is rated for plus P, and you go, well, you know, that's not enough. Well, then get you a couple of these. This is an HKS speed loader, and a couple of these in your front pocket, and you're well armed. You're ready to go. Well, a lot of folks think that, you know, 38 Special, that's just not enough. That's just not enough power. Okay. Well, you know what the number one cartridge for one-shot stops happens to be? Well, it happens to be a 357 Magnum 125 grain jacketed hollow point. Okay. It has the reputation for being the best one-shot stop cartridge. Okay. And now that doesn't mean that it's killing the person, so to speak, but it stops them from doing whatever they were doing, the attack or whatever. And it's a revolver cartridge. Okay. Now a lot of these guns right here are made in 357 Magnum. Taurus makes them. Smith & Wesson, they make a wide variety of subcompact, I guess you would call them, snub nose 357 Magnums. And they make them in a variety of materials like titanium and scandium and things of that nature that really make them super lightweight. But just remember, there's a cost for that. And that cost is recoil. That cost is the snappiness in the hand when you shoot that gun. And if you're going to choose something like that to carry, then you're going to have to practice more with it. Yeah, but the saying is you carry it a lot and shoot it a little. No. You have to be proficient with your gun. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's one of the new whiz-bang guns that has a 30-round magazine or a nice little snub nose that has 5 shots. You got to be able to hit what you're shooting at. And you have to make good, effective hits in order for the gun to be effective. No matter what caliber, no matter how many rounds you have in your magazine. Nothing replaces that proficiency. Okay? Now, back in the day, I bought this right here. This is a Ruger SP101 and 357 Magnum. And we'll go ahead and safety check that. Okay? This is an all steel frame. Has a 3-inch barrel, has the fixed sights. Okay, this is a double action revolver. And you know, when they first came out with this gun, it was in 38 Special. And you know, it's quite a handful. Ruger's, they make solid, big, heavy handguns, revolvers, I should say. And this is a representation of a snub nose that they make. Okay, but it does have the 3-inch barrel. You know, when I was a young man, the writers of the time, a lot of those guys that would write about defensive weapons said that, you know, a 3-inch 357 Magnum revolver is the ultimate fighting handgun. Okay, for its size and power, it was the ultimate. And this is a representation of that, and it's still a viable tool today as it was back then. Okay, now that's not a gun that you would slip in your jacket pocket and go to the store. I guess you could, but it's a heavy gun. It's a heavy gun. I wore that in a holster on my hip and carried it as a concealed weapon. Okay. Now look at this gun right here. This gun represents a larger handgun that you may have for home defense. Okay. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 627. All right. This is a performance center gun, and it's built on an end frame. And end frame used to be their largest frame until they came out with the big 500 Smith & Wesson. End frame is the frame size for the 44 Magnum. Okay. And you may ask yourself, why in the world would they build a 357 Magnum on that frame? Well, it's because it's an 8-shot. Okay? It's an 8-shot revolver. They were so proud of that fact when they came out with this gun that they actually stamped it on the barrel. Which in this case, I wish they hadn't. I think it looks kind of cheesy, but you know, whatever. And it has a 5-inch barrel. It's a very accurate gun. And it has adjustable sights. And you know, I bought this sight set from Meprolite. These are actually tritium sights. That's right, I have tritium adjustable sights on a revolver. Okay. This gun is a very good example of a home defense weapon. It can be loaded with either 38 or 357 Magnum. And this particular gun uses full moon clips. So reloads are rather simple. Okay. 8 rounds of 357 Magnum is a formidable weapon. You know, for comparison, you know, 1911s, they generally these days come with an 8-round magazine. You know, when it first came out, it had a 7-round magazine, but they generally come out with 8-round magazines today. You can get higher capacity ones, 10 rounds, 15 rounds. I even saw a 25-round one time, but you know, generally speaking, 8-round magazine for a 1911. And remember, as effective as the 45 ACP is, and it is very effective, the 357 Magnum 125 grain is the #1 cartridge for one-shot stops. All right. And with this larger gun, heavier gun, those 357 Magnums are a little bit easier to control. You know, there's a lot of things that are much more important than the caliber of the weapon that you choose or the capacity. And I've spoke to it many times. I'm going to speak to it again. It's important to get quality instruction. Okay? And once you've had that quality instruction, you need to practice. Nothing replaces that. You know, you may be able to substitute 38s for 357 Magnums for practicing. You still need to shoot those 357 Magnums. Okay, I don't buy into carry a lot and shoot a little. Nothing replaces proficiency. That gives you a confidence that you have when you're carrying that gun, that you can use that gun if you should ever need to. Okay, well that's all I'm going to have with this video. Thanks a lot, folks, for watching. If you have any comments, please do. Questions. And thanks again.